Blau und weiß ein Leben lang. Hallo meine Leute. Willkommen zum das einzige Schalke podcast auf English. That's right, folks. Officially the world's only English Schalke podcast. This is episode 111 of SchalkeMerica, and I'm your host, Richard Kharman. Joining me on the show, as always, is Jack Mangan. How we doing, Jack?
You looked surprised that we were going live. There's literally a countdown.
Yeah, you think I would know how this works, right?
Oh,
apparently,
yeah. Not there.
I was waiting for the sounds of Nick Tatagui, and then when I didn't hear it, I was like, "Wait a minute, what? Oh, we're live."
Well, yes. R.I.P. to Nick Tatagui. Unfortunate news that his contract was terminated. Was that yesterday or 2 days? This weekend, maybe.
Yeah, this weekend. Yeah.
So I don't know if that was performance related or just something, financial side because of Schalke and he's extra weight in the squad or whatever, and they're trying to get rid of those contracts. I don't know what's going on, but obviously wish him the best. Somebody that we, were rooting for a while, but injuries kind of derailed his career a little bit as he was trying to progress through the youth ranks and make that first team jump. So hopefully he's able to go somewhere else and get some minutes and continue with his career.
Yeah, absolutely. We enjoyed the conversation we had with him. Thank you to Schalke for providing a chance to interview Nick, and it seems like a good dude. We wish him nothing but the best. It's unfortunate he didn't get his opportunity with the first team, but whether he didn't deserve it or not, to be determined. We weren't at the practice squad, but it's awesome here, and we got some people here in the chat. First, good buddy Jake is on. Good evening, Jake, and then we got someone on Facebook here. Yes, we are live on Facebook. Trying something new, different here, and this comes from Stephanie. Goes, whoa, had no idea about this podcast and got notified for it. Neat. Better times for the club. That's right. We hope we do have better times for the club. So thank you for those who are joining us from on Facebook Live here. So it's Jack. We got a big jam-packed episode here. A lot to talk about. Obviously, the Hertha Berlin game is something we do have to talk about, but it is the silly season. January window just opened up. A lot to talk about there as well, and then some other news bits that I guess we should get to in terms of one Clemens Tony's. But where do you want to start? I guess we just start with this game because it was a tough game overall, huh, Jack? Not the way. So we got the new manager obviously coming in, and we had high hopes that he's going to come in and try to do his magic and find a way to get us back on the winning ways. We're inching closer to Tasmania Berlin. A lot of Tasmania Berlin fans were actually outside the stadium, cheering for Schalke because they don't want him to break the record. Unfortunately, we would lose and make it 30 games in a row winless. 3-0 scoreline, Jack. The scores in this game, Guendouzi got the goal scored and started early in the 36th minute. John Cordoba in the 52nd minute, and then Christoph Piątek rounded it off in the 80th minute, 3-0, Jack. Where do you want to start with this game? Because it was not pretty. It seemed like it started out first 15 minutes pretty good, and then it just progressively got worse and worse throughout the game.
Well, unfortunately, Schalke don't appear to have been familiar with the expression "New Year, New Me," because we kind of picked up right where we left off. Now in the Rückrunde, I expressed last week on our midseason review that I was skeptical that this coaching change was the right move. And obviously it's only been one game, so you can't really judge Christian Gross's effect, so far. We got to give him more time, obviously. But, literally nothing different in terms of what we're used to seeing so far. And then you look at him on the sideline during this game, and he's just kind of like standing there pensively, occasionally giving a thumbs up to somebody. And I much prefer the more active coaching of Manuel Baum and the encouragement that he's giving on the sidelines during games. So it's just frustrating that there's no real reason to suggest that simply the turn of the new year is going to change something in the squad. But we're always going to hope that we can have a little bit of a fresh slate, and wasn't to be. But yeah, as you say, multiple goals, could have been more on their end. Not a ton of chances on our end. Do you want to just hit the lineups real quick and just talk about that first? But
yeah, let's do that. So starting with the lineups for the home team, I guess. Berlin came out with obviously the goalkeeper Schwolow, then headed back for Pekarik, Stark, Alderalde, and Plattenhardt. Midfield of Guendouzi, who's the goal scorer, Toussaint, and Darida. All three played very well in this game. And then attacking trio of Luca Bacchio, Cordoba, and Cunha, which gave our back lines nightmares, Jack. All the way around the scene. I mean, I don't know if this team is this good, but we sure made them look that good.
We make most people look good, but yeah, I mean, when you look at the individual players in the squad, I guess you feel like perhaps they should be playing better. Hertha Berlin than they have been overall this season. Because I mean, there are some talented players in there, and there's some players that really catch the eye when you watch them. But
a lot of expectations with them because they spent like $100 million over the last year or so. So a lot of expectations with them that they're falling short of.
There you go, man. Big city, big money club. What can you say? But it's wasn't Hertha the team that ended Tasmania Berlin's winless streak?
Yes, they were.
So was that in conjunction with the fact that we beat Hertha in the DFB Pokal in the spring, which is one of the last games that we've won, actual competitive games that we've won. So, for those two reasons, maybe you're a little bit hopeful. But as you say, multiple players in that lineup causing us fits all game. In particular, Kuna, I thought was spectacular. Yeah. He was really impressive. And according to I hadn't been following this, but according to the commentary from Phil Bonney, apparently he had been called out by his coach the previous week for a very poor performance. So if that isn't the typical standard of his play,
if you can't play well against Schalke, you're off the team.
There you go, right? But he really showed up for sure. And then the Schalke side of things, we saw Stambouli at right back, which is something that we talked about probably continuing, which I'm not necessarily against. So you kind of had like a deeper two of Mascarell and Suat Serdar, and then Schupf and Harid on opposite wings, and then Mark Gut and Matthew Hoppe up top together. Were you surprised to see Matthew Hoppe in the game from the start? Rahman injured, of course, right? But
I was until I heard about the Rahman injury. Then I wasn't so surprised. Benito Rahman injured his ankle prior to the game, maybe in warmups, and he was off out of the lineup. So once I heard that Rahman was injured, at first when I saw Hoppe's name, I'm like, "What are you thinking? You got Rahman? Like doesn't make any sense." Then you saw the rumor about the injury, and you're like, "Okay, well, I get that." Then that did throw me, but we did do a tactical breakdown of Christian Gross on YouTube. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. Kind of what we thought was going to happen did happen. He came out with a 4-4-2, kind of a 4-2-3-1, depending on what scenarios you're in. And we kind of figured, like you said, we talked about Stambouli coming in a right back. There was a rumor that Mascarell got injured prior to the game, and maybe Stambouli would jump into the midfield. Tiao maybe comes in right back, but Mascarell was fit enough to play. But overall, I thought that the lineup that we had was fairly standard. I was hoping for a better response, considering we have a new manager, the fourth manager of the season. But it seemed to fall flat again. And Jack, I don't know what the answer is, and it's every week we keep thinking we're going to see something different. It doesn't happen.
Decent. I mean, let's just hit the goals quickly and then just stop talking about it, because there's nothing new to analyze in this game outside of what we typically talk about. But I mean, the first 35 minutes of the game, not bad, or so. Even the first half overall, not terrible. And the initial goal that goes in from Guendouzi actually isn't poorly defended. It's just the kind of goal that Schalke tends to concede in the midst of the season when everything else is going wrong for them. You concede a goal like that. It comes in off of a long throw from, I believe, Plattenhardt on the sideline into the box. Maybe you can argue about that initial ball should have been one off the throw in, but I think it was Kuna who then it falls to, and he's able to find space to get a shot off. It just takes the deflection and falls right to the feet of Guendouzi, who takes really nice first touch with his left foot and then curls it around Fairman to the far post. And it just like I said, not overall super poorly defended, just a random chance that happened to fall into a nice pocket of space there for him, and a really good finish. But that's the kind of thing, like I said, like when everything else is going wrong for you, that's the kind of goal that you're going to concede sometimes. And we just got to find a way to like turn some of this bad luck around. But the rest of it was far more, I think, Schalke's doing than random luck.
Yeah, it seemed like Nastasic kind of played that play by Cunha very well. Got the block, but went right to Guendouzi. Obviously, I think it was Kabak wasn't ready for it, and he just was able to curl it in. Nice shot past Fairman. Nothing Fairman could do about it. He was stretched as far as he could. Gerd, who's joining us, he says the soccer gods are against us for Schalke for some reason. And that may be the case. We've had a lot of good luck in the recent years, so it's interesting. But it's I don't know. Just that second goal that Cunha really embarrassed. Well, there was a play before the second goal where Cunha goes down the left wing side. He completely embarrasses Serdar, cuts it in for Luca Bacchio, and Fairman makes a big save on him. But the guys would continue to put pressure on us throughout the game.
That was the first big moment, and that chance was so similar to so many that came, particularly in the second half, where it was just like every time they went down the field, there was an easy through ball available. But as you say, nice save from Fairman, comes out, gets big, and at the time was helping keep us in the game.
So just chatting away to Facebook here. Someone's asking about Kolasinac. We'll get to that soon. But yeah, no, that John Cordoba goal A long time coming for him. He's just a big physical striker that we had no answers for. He was out muscling Kabak or whoever tried to challenge him. He's got great pace and was able to put it away, make it 2-0.
Yeah, he's so smart with the way he positions his body though too. He's not just like, hey, he's big and strong, so therefore he's good. But he's very intelligent with the situations he gets in and the way he positions himself to defenders to use that to his advantage. And you would think, like Ozan Kabak, for instance, who's no slouch himself, would deal a little bit better with that than he ultimately did. But it's credit to Cordoba for making it work. And he's somebody that, like, for me, just kind of continues to fly under the radar a little bit. But every time I see him in a game, he's always impressing me.
Yeah, no, he definitely is. I've liked him for a long time. And he's whoever plays against Schalke, it seems like they always find a way to put him back in the net, regardless. And he would come off, and his replacement would be Christoph Piątek, and looks like his first touch at the ball, he gets a goal, makes it 3-0. Clinical by Piątek, but yeah, we again poor behind with the 6s and 7s. They say, want to play defense. Not the great look for us. 3-0. It could have been 4-0. A goal was taken back. The Piątek scored later. Just not good defense. I
mean, yeah, the Cordoba goal in particular too. The ball goes wide to, I think it was Dorita.
Yeah,
I think it was the one. Yeah. Part-time football player, part-time Lee Harvey Oswald impersonator. Dorita. You're not going to be able to unsee that now that I've said that. Trust me.
Nope. It screwed me up.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But if you look at that, I believe it's Omar Mascarell is marking Cunha, I believe.
Yeah.
And then I believe it's Stambouli who's directly marking Cordoba, and then Kabak's kind of in no man's land. Neither Mascarell or Stambouli are ball side of the person they're marking. Both of them are allowing potentially a pass to come in to the feet and get a shot off. And then Ozan Kabak, who's not directly marking anybody, fails to jump in the passing lane to block the back cut that ultimately comes to Cordoba. And it's way too easy. And it's the same thing with the, Christoph Piątek goal. It's just, I think he actually had the ball first, plays it down to whoever ultimately assists him. And then he just kind of like is allowed to just run straight through. And the reaction time to it is so delayed for no particular reason. And it's way too easy. And there were so many chances in the second half that were very similar to that, where it's just, they could just kind of get in behind whenever they wanted to. And that's been the case for a lot of the season, maybe not always as easily as it was in this one, but that's consistently a problem. It's just teams can counterattack us and basically get as many opportunities as they care to.
Yeah, no, and it's been really frustrating. We've seen it time and time again where we see it, watching a game that something's happening, yet the players seem to fail to react to that. Shout out to Eric from Germania 1866 in Columbus. How you doing, guys? Great that you're enjoying watching us again. Those who join us on Facebook, thank you again. It's our first inauguration night on Facebook Live. So normally we're on YouTube, so we're actually on both tonight. So anyway, yeah, the defending has just been piss poor. As of late, it has not gotten any better, and I'm curious to see how we're doing the next game. We got 2 tough games coming up to tie and break the record. First against Hoffenheim next week, a chance for Mark Uth to make redemption against his former team, and then big game against Eintracht Frankfurt, I believe, is the next game. So not easy, and we need to get some wins. Find a way to get some wins, because Bayern's just on the horizon. I mean, Bayern is just right around the corner. If you want to have your confidence kicked even lower, Bayern will do it to you. So I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, both of those teams, Hoffenheim and Frankfurt, very much like Hertha, sort of mid-table-ish. And I know that no opponent is easy for us right now, but like you say, I mean, when you're coming up against a Bayern, a team like that, we lose even when we're playing well.
Yeah,
I mean, even in the best of times when we're in form, we're losing those games. So you're going to lose them now, and so you have to find a way to get results against the likes of some of these mid-table teams. But we're failing to get them against even Bielefeld and teams like that. So as always, we don't have the answers, and it's gonna require something to change.
Yeah,
you look at some of the talent on the pitch at times. Like in this game in particular, like you had like Harit, Serdar, and Mark Uth all on the pitch at the same time. That's a 3, particularly when Uth is able to drop into the midfield. That should be perfectly capable of creating number of chances with their interplay, because these are all talented people that are able to not only be people on the dribble, but combine, and these are intelligent players. And Suat Serdar in particular, I thought was awful in this game.
Yes, I was going to bring it up.
And maybe his best position isn't sort of sitting deeper with Mascarell, and I would grant that. I think he should probably be used a little bit higher up. Maybe we're trying to get all these players on the pitch at the same time, but like Harit and Oud and these guys, they're just not effective enough. I mean, even Mark Oud actually had a couple legitimate chances in this game that I think he did poorly. There was one very late in the game. I mean, the game was already lost at that point that I think absolutely should have been scored, and he didn't. Yeah, it's just frustrating because it's if those guys aren't really being optimized, there's nowhere else to turn. You're not looking to shove for Skripski or these guys to figure it out. And obviously Matthew Hoppe can't be solely responsible for suddenly scoring all of your goals because he's getting minutes. And actually, to his credit, I think he did significantly better in this game.
He had a nice link-up play with some of the midfielders.
Yeah, I was more impressed with him in this one for sure.
Yeah,
I said he needed to kind of show us something if I think he's going to get more minutes. And after that, who knows? Because I don't think he's basically that performance is far off anything we've seen from anybody else this season. But yeah.
I don't know if it was Stark or who it was on the defense for Hertha, but they were just taking advantage of him, bullying him constantly, especially on the sideline and stuff, knocking him around. But Serdar, I thought had a very poor game overall. It kept looking like he kept trying to do too much, kept trying to drop deep into the midfield to get the ball to start it up, but then it just wasn't working at all.
And I appreciate his industry because he's so important to us because he does so much and he's trying so hard and he's going wherever he can to try to link up and create angles and stuff. But but I mean, I have to be critical of him too when he misses chances, and I thought he was wasteful today. The other thing about Matthew Hoppe that seems interesting to me, maybe it's just a Suat Serdar issue, but I feel as though his teammates don't trust him because there's times he's making like legitimately good runs, and there's an opportunity for like a through ball pass where it seems like he's probably the best option. I think there's at least 2 of these chances in this game, and I think I saw another one in a different one. And Suat Serdar, whoever, just like is like, nope, I'm not playing that to him. Like, I'm going to take it or I'm going to give it to somebody else. Like, I don't want to like have the chance fall to this guy. I don't know if that's just coincidence that they've happened to make those decisions. Maybe it's not a lack of trust. That could just be my American bias speaking. But if that is a thing, that's a huge problem too, because if you're going to have this guy in the lineup, you have to be able to like play the ball where the best opportunity for the goal is. And if you don't trust him, like, I mean, that needs to change or he needs to get out. I don't know what's going on, but that seemed to raise an eyebrow to me. And I thought I noticed
that as well. And I wondered if it was maybe a confidence issue. Like, I can't get that pass. So there's no way nothing's working out for me. So I'm not going to try that pass. It could be that. Hopefully it's that and not the, I don't trust him, kind of play. Cause like you said, if you're going to have 11 men out there, you need to have them, you need to trust everybody there. Otherwise you're basically playing with a man short and that does you nothing going offensively. And it's already hard as it is trying to score some goals, much less,
there's a couple times where he doesn't get the ball and Matthew Hoppe's like making like, gestations about like, he's gesticulating like about like the fact that he didn't get the ball. And normally I'd be like, all right, youngster, like, why don't you calm down a little bit? But I think he was right a couple times in this game. Like, he should have. Like, so, yeah, I don't know. But and maybe since we're basically done talking about this game, this is a good time to transition into this. But no start once again for Kutucu. And this is now the 4th, 5th manager that have all made the same kind of and it's one game under Christian Gross, but same sort of estimation of him as not being worthy or a good option in the starting 11. And at this point, I think I'm more interested in learning what the hell is going on there than I am with learning the story behind Nabil Bentaleb's time at Schalke, because the Kutucu thing to me just continues to mystify, because almost every time he comes on the pitch, I think he shows you at least a little bit more than what most people are showing you. Once again, I'm not saying that he's out there and he's like,
the world on fire,
world-class player, but like I still think that and I thought his cameo in this game was actually quite good. I thought he looked sharp. And so the idea that like every single manager can consistently look at this player in maybe he trains poorly. I don't know what it is, but that no one is giving him the starting minutes. And like, once again, no disrespect to Matthew Hoppe. And like, I thought he played well in this game, but like the idea that like we're so down on strikers that we call Matthew Hoppe up from the Knappensschmiede and give him starting minutes and Kutucu still can't get on the field is mystifying to me. And now in the past day or two, we're seeing that there's this lone rumor about the possibility that he might be going out to Fenerbahce or wherever. Hanover potentially. And like, are we aware that we need to score goals?
Like, apparently not.
Like, I'm sorry, but like we're literally like just bereft of attacking talent and bereft of product. And you have this guy who, like, every time he comes on the pitch looks decent, looks like potentially a spark. And not only are you not playing him, now you want to loan him out.
Yeah.
And this is a kid who like is Schalke through and through. And every time he's asked, like, makes statements about how like he wants to play for this club and like cares about it. Like, if there's anybody that you think would like be the guy you want on the pitch in a relegation type situation, maybe it's him as well. Like, like talent aside, just like from like a spirit perspective, it is mystifying to me that we're considering letting this guy go in the middle of the year as we're heading into a relegation fight, because at this point that is where we're headed. Still not a certainty or anything like that mathematically, and we could easily turn it around if we go on a streak. But like, I don't understand it. No one's scoring goals in this team. Why is he the guy that you're looking to ship off? I don't get it.
I mean, because we said it many times, and happy New Year, William Glenn joining us, and Paul Forrester from Florida. I'm curious how Kutucu and Ut would look up top. With Rahman on the left hand side, I think that could be a very potentially dangerous circumstance for the defenses against us. But we're not seeing what's going on in practice, and I would love for someone who has an inside scoop, going to these practices and seeing what's going on. Maybe they can shed some light on this, because maybe it is the practice ethic. I had seen when Hope Stevens was in charge for the 2 games. There's a couple clips of pictures of him, talking to Kutucu during practice, and then I think sending him off or something like that. So maybe it's a practice thing. I don't know. We're not there, but from what we've seen on the pitch, he seems to be one of the better options that you have offensively. And like you said, in a team that's starving for some kind of creative opportunities going forward, he seems to be the only one who has that kind of glimmer. Obviously, Mark Ut and Rahman are the main ones. But
and unless I'm mistaken, he wasn't even the first person that got called upon, was he? Because it was Skripski that came in first, right?
Yep. And then he got injured.
He's not even the first guy off the bench. It doesn't make sense to me. Chan Bosnuan as well.
Yeah.
Not that there's loan rumors about him, because not to distract from the transfer conversation, but like another guy who gets subbed on, and I'm like, why is he not starting? To me, I like what he brings to the pitch too. So once again, 2 guys that every week we seem to have this conversation about. I don't think Mascarell's playing super well right now.
He's not.
I don't know. I think Kutucu needs more minutes. I think Bosnuan needs more minutes. Bujalev maybe too, because he's looked lively at times. I don't know, but like I don't want to see a lot of Shup right now. I don't want to see Skripski.
Yeah,
and once again, Bastian Ochipka. I know Kolasinac just got here, and we'll talk about that. But like, hopefully, we're not seeing much of Ochipka again, because he's brutal at this point. I feel so bad. I respect the guy and like the effort he's put in over the years. It's not there. It's not happening this season.
Yeah. It'd be good to have him in. Maybe transition him to like a center back position. But even then, I don't know. We've seen a couple of times during this run where he had played center back out of necessity, and he was okay. But I mean, if the center backs keep playing the way they do, maybe he's the better option. Who knows? But yeah, at left back, he doesn't have the pace anymore. You see him, he can get burned so many times, and not only this game, but many games where even guys who are just like moderately fast, they're getting just blown by him, and it's putting our defense in. It was already down 3 men back there, and it makes it look really bad. So Kutucu thing was definitely a shocker, but not shocker. Like just doesn't make sense to us. One that made sense to everybody, I think, is Robbie Matondo. His loan move to Stoke was confirmed. I believe he passed his medicals. If not today, it was yesterday. So that's going to be until the end of the season, at least it looks like. Another thing about the Kutucu move, the rumor is that it could be a loan with an option to buy, which would suck. Wherever he goes, he needs to get playing time, but hopefully it's not no buy option on that at the end. But Matondo, like we said, he's off to Stoke City. Hopefully he can do some good there and hopefully change his career. Maybe they want to buy him afterwards if he does well. Who knows? But best of luck to him there.
That's a move that makes a little bit more sense to me, just because he's always been a player that's sort of without a position to some extent.
Yeah.
You would think he'd be ideally a winger, and that's in a squad that has almost no other natural wingers in its makeup, so it's hard to play formations consistently that utilize him maybe properly. Sometimes he's tried to be shoehorned in as like a lone striker in a partnership, but I don't really think maybe that's where he needs to be either. And it was kind of a desperation signing at the time back in that January window under Tedesco, and I feel like this just wasn't the place for him to develop and kind of finish tightening up some areas of his game that need some help, because he's obviously got a lot of raw talent. And he's got some impressive attributes, but hasn't been able to put it all together. And I don't really even blame him fully for that, because for any offensive player at Schalke right now, it's a tough time. So, hopefully he's able to go and get some momentum at Stoke, and potentially if he ends up moving on permanently, good for him, and hopefully he can revive his career. It's a tough place to try to start it off,
Yeah. But hopefully they're again seeing better times than we are at the moment. So that's definitely confirmed. We talked about Kutucu. I guess we can talk about the wingbacks first. Obviously, the better news that came out of this whole week, the whole saga here, is return of Sead Kolasinac, as he tells us. I saw it's a couple of funny videos going out there. Maj 1904 posted a video where there's like 7 different pronunciations of his name all by him. So you're like, which one is it, buddy? But I believe it's Kolasinac. Either way, he's back in our lives. He's back on the team. A move that I think initially.
I'm just gonna say Kolasinac to be as
Kolasinac.
obnoxious as possible.
Kolasinac. Sounds like a New York accent, or maybe Chicago, where you're from. But yeah, no. Rumors were that he was going to go to maybe another team in the Bundesliga when those deals broke down. Obviously, Schalke's new name came to the forefront, and he's been talking nonstop about how, I want to go back to Schalke, fight off this relegation, help the team, stay in the Bundesliga. It was a pretty quick turnaround, I think, from when the rumors started to when actually the confirmation was that he was confirmed loan to us. And I think it's a loan with obligation to buy if we stave off relegation. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy to have him back?
I think I'm a little bit out of step with most of the Schalke supporter base on this one. I don't know how to feel about it. I'm slightly conflicted. On the one hand, like the idea that we're going to pay like $2.4 million in salary for a 6-month loan for basically a castaway from another club is not appealing to me when you consider what our financial situation is and how limited we are on funds. The idea that we're paying that kind of money for a half-season loan is and that's with like Kolasinac like waiving half of his salary so that because Arsenal's not going to pay the other half of it. So that to me is troubling, and also to me kind of seems to suggest like a lack of a real scouting department, because to address our left and right back needs, it's like, oh, well, here's a guy that we used to have who is a feel-good transfer that the fans are all going to like and distract them from what's going on, and here you go. So I'll say I'm skeptical of it. On the other hand, a guy who I think was more at his level in the Bundesliga than he's proven to be in his time at Arsenal. He's never really fully got it going. He'll have like one good performance there, and then it'll be 3 or 4 where he's just like not up to it. And so the fans never really know what to make of him exactly. I think he was a good contributor for us back then. He's certainly an emotional leader and the kind of guy that maybe could make a difference in that respect on the pitch to keep the guys going and keep the heads from dropping, because he was always that kind of guy. But also has a little bit of like a discipline problem, and who knows? So it's if we get the best of him, then it could be huge, because certainly that's an area that we're not deep in, and I don't think Ochipka has been up to snuff this season. So it should be a boost. It should be a good signing from that perspective. But the whole captaincy conversation and then the financial picture of it, to me, is just kind of like something about it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I talked to a lot of Arsenal fans during this the whole week, whatever, about this, and I was asking about him, and a lot of them said, they don't really fault him for his poor play. They think that it's more the system that he was put into wasn't the right fit for him. Where at Schalke, it was a good fit. It was the right marriage for them. I'm happy that he's back. The only thing I did not like about the whole thing was the possibility of putting him as captain. As much as I would want him as captain, my thinking would be like, you give him the first 6 months, end of the season. If he does well, we're still in the league, and you want to make him captain, okay, maybe we can talk about it then. But right now, it would disrupt the locker room even more so than it is by making him captain, and be shot a punch in the face to Mascarell, Fairman, Sambuli.
This is a rumor that's been around for a while too. I have a tweet, I think, that's back from the summer window when this move was getting talked about, and it was back then that the rumor was that the captaincy was a condition of the move for Kolasinac. Like he wanted the captaincy as part of the move. And to me, like, if that's what actually happened here, that first of all, that reeks to me of like not captain like behavior, just sort of demanding it rather than earning it. I'm not saying he wouldn't be a good choice for that. Right. He may very well be an excellent choice for that, and the players and the coaches may have decided through whatever process exists under Christian Gross now that he's the right guy for that job. But if this is somehow like mandated from the top down from Schneider as part of his transfer negotiations to get this deal over the line, that also to me is a little bit wrong, but at the same time is just typical for this club, because we have a long history of the captaincy being used as a carrot to try to like able to sign exactly. I mean, this is multiple times recently that we've already devalued like the captaincy to such an extent that it shouldn't be a big deal. But that's one other aspect of it. Again, that's just kind of rubbing me the wrong way. But Jake says he fights off carjackers. He does do that, and he's the legend for that forever. And I don't want to sound like I'm like, he should be a significant upgrade to Ochipka based on what we've seen. And to Jake's point in the chat there, like he absolutely was contributing offensively at times back when he was on us, and it should be able to get forward to some extent. And like I said, maybe more at his level in the Bundesliga. So it could be a very good move. I don't know. I'm mixed on it.
Yeah, I'm curious. I do want to see him 100% start against Hoffenheim. Let's give Oczepka a rest. Kolasinac should have enough energy in him that he hasn't probably played in a while. Let him start the game. See what he's got. We need to have some kind of spark, and him contributing on the left wing side could help immensely. Could give us some opportunities that we haven't had in a while. So let's do that, number one. Now, I know a lot of people were saying, after I forget who it was, it might have been Glenn here, wanted me to start the hashtag bring back the boys, where you got already Kolasinac, bring back Özil, bring back Draxler, bring back Meyer, Weltklasse Max Meyer, so on and so forth on freeze. We'll see about that. Their salaries are I don't know about Max Meyer, but Draxler and Özil salaries are way too high for us. Kolasinac had to take half his salary off and just to make that 3 million minimum or maximum that we have. So we'll see. But I would love to see them back if conditions were right. But regardless, some other names. Obviously, the right back is a situation we had after Jonjo Kenny left. We kind of really had no one to fill the void. We brought in Kylian Ludwig, 19-year-old, really a step too high for him to jump in. So some of the names that come up. Jan Villari was mentioned today about coming from Southampton on a loan. Other names at right back also mentioned Mitchell Wieser from Bayer, Julian Korb also in the mix as well, and Jonjo Kenny, his name's resurfaced as well. So the three other names are possibly could be some depth guys at the right back situation. We'll see. But Jan Villari looks like he might be the one that is coming on loan as far as I can tell. What about you, Jack? You've seen this, and how do you feel on the move?
I've seen a couple rumors. I don't watch a lot of Southampton. That's more your vein, honestly. I feel like if anyone knows a lot about the club, you can speak to how you estimate him as a player.
Yeah. He's a decent player. He's going to be. Is he what Jonjo Kenny brought us last year? It could be. He has the potential going forward. Certainly, defensively, he's a decent player. I think it's be a massive upgrade to what we're using right now between Stambouli and Kylian Ludwig and Schoff and whoever else we're going to try to put in their piece in there in that right back situation, even Malik Thiaw. So that would be an upgrade. I think any of the four guys that are mentioned, if they came in, would be an upgrade because they're actually true right backs. And that is a key. We're bringing in someone who actually plays the position as opposed to trying to fit someone into that mold that's unnatural to them. We've, in the past, we did get success with Daniel Caligiuri, even though he's more of a winger, and he had some success with us, obviously, for sure. But you can't expect that every time that's going to work out. And I think having any of these four guys would work out. So I'd be happy with any of these guys, Jan Villari, Mitchell Wieser, Julian Korb, or having Jonjo Kenny back. Any of these guys would be good, and having an opposite of Kolasinac on the left hand side might help us create more opportunities going forward. The main thing though right now I think is defensively being solid and keeping out the goals. We're making mistakes left and right.
I don't think Stambouli has been horrible as a
no, he has not.
I think if there's any place for him on the pitch while he's here, it may be there. I think he's done a decent job. But yeah, I certainly think we need the depth, and wouldn't be opposed to. Beggars can't be choosers at this point, but I'll certainly take your recommendation as somebody who watches Southampton sometimes. So, hopefully we get some business done because, as you said, Kylian Ludwig, not a guy I want to criticize for reasons we've stated before, but probably not up to the level that we would need.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this kind of transition to our next question and our next topic. So our buddy Lane Plummer jumps on from Facebook and says, if you were in charge of transfers, do you, one, get emergency transfers to try not to get relegated, and two, conduct business to prepare for immediate promotion from the second division? So a lot of the noise this past week as well, much of all the noise that we've had here in Schalke Nation, is Clemens Tönnies again trying to inject some money into Schalke, trying to loan some money to us. Apparently, this is the third time he's tried to do that for us. The first two times obviously been rejected, and the only way it would pass now is if it's overwhelmingly passes everyone. It's 100% saying that they would take his money. Do you want to spend some money? Do you want to take this money from Clemens Tönnies and try to bring in players to save off relegation, or let's look at the Tönnies situation first. Do you want to even take his money, Jack?
No.
And it's a tough question. It's a tough question. We don't want him obviously back in our lives because of all the shit that's happened, right? But like you were just mentioning a couple minutes ago, beggars can't be choosers. We kind of need the money.
But yeah, beggars can't be choosers. Maybe in terms of some of the talent that you're looking at, but in terms of your principles, I don't think you go back on that. I mean, like, if you take his money, then what was the justification for removing him from his position with the club in the first place?
Yeah, that exactly.
And if it's like, hey, we're making a decision, we no longer want to be associated with this guy.
But
so he's no longer, I mean, he's
money. Feed me.
Yeah, and also is the guest of other teams and showing up to our games, and when fans can't even get in, that kind of thing. I'm sorry, that's something I would be against. I understand the financial situation we're in. I appreciate the fact that he cares about the club and has been involved with it for a long time, and now that even he's sort of like out, is offering his finances. To me, this is indicative of potentially the fact that he still has too much influence, kind of like under the table, behind the scenes with the club. I hope that's not the case, but my position is, he's gone and he should stay gone.
Yeah, Gerd says, what should happen with Tony is put his money where his mouth is. It's breaking news here. Breaking news. It looks like we got an available free transfer here. So if anyone who wants to sign, we can sign this guy right here. I did. Someone gave it to me as a gift for Christmas. Anyway, yeah, no, it's difficult, and I think with Clemens Tony's, what we also heard is that if he keeps loaning out to Schalke, eventually Schalke is going to owe him, and he gets a club back. And that's certainly what nobody wants, especially with all the things that's happened between the racism and the coronavirus and all that stuff, and just years of mismanagement is what we're hearing. Yeah, it's difficult, right? Even if we did take his money, right? Let's just play devil's advocate. We take his money. Why would we spend the money on the players when we're already in debt? I can see the supervisory board say, yeah, we'll take your money, but it has to go to the debt. It's not going to go to the player. And at that point, you're kind of going to what Lane is talking about, and to his second statement, do you conduct a business and prepare for immediate promotion? If the team doesn't start getting results here in the next month or so, you're gonna have to start doing that. You have to.
I mean, yeah, ideally you do both at the same time. I don't know if he's asking if it's an either or proposition. I mean, to me, you have to try to stay in the league at all costs. Because as we said, well, listen, if Schalke signs you, then I know for sure we have no scouting department. That would just be confirmation of
39-year-old.
I mean, come on,
from
man.
the USA.
Yeah, for sure. But and I don't even know what I was saying now. I totally lost it. Pull that thing out every time.
Every time you're talking. Yeah, taking Tony's money and and paying off the debt or paying off for players and stuff like that. I don't know. I think I'm with you. I just find some other way. Find some other sponsor. We got Dunkin' Donuts recently. That's came out of the blue, and it's funny now. All I see is Dunkin' Donuts promotions everywhere. Maybe just it's like when you buy a car.
That's the kind of change I can believe in personally. Is moves like that. That's the good stuff right there. That little Dunkin' action. But bottom line is, I hope we bring people in. I hope we're able to do something in the transfer market while it's open, because we certainly need to. There's been rumors about like Divock Origi. Not that I think that would ever happen, but
probably cost too much.
Yeah, hopefully they can pull off some kind of magic with whatever limited funding they have, and I just hope that funding doesn't come in the form of some sort of gift or loan from
bring back Huntelaar from retirement.
It's
got to be an upgrade, right?
Huntelaar to the team. One last time for the road and that kind of thing. Who knows? Yeah.
If you're on YouTube or Facebook and you're in the chat, let us know what you think about Tony's. Would you accept his money if he gave it to the club? Let us know in the chat. Yeah, it's definitely a hot button topic, and lots of people have voiced their opinions on that. Yeah, I mean, this transfer market is going to be interesting for me. I mean, we don't have any money to spend on players. It's going to have to be free transfers or something like we did for Kolasinac, where if we stave off relegation, maybe there'll be some money at the end of under the light of the tunnel. If at the end of the season, maybe, who knows. But I think the main point right now is just to stay in the Bundesliga whatever way possible. First way to do it is get that freaking win. I haven't heard anything else in terms of transfer rumors, but we're 30 games now winless. Going on almost over a year now, and 2 big games coming up for us. The record looks like it's ours unless something crazy happens. Jacob Jones chiming in. He says, "I'm cool with Tony's making it rain." Joseph says, Schalke runs on Duncan. Actually, Schalke runs on Gazprom. Haha. Jacob says, as long as we stay up. And a lot of people are saying that they would take the money just to stay up. But again, it's that whole aspect that many people are bringing up, is that all you're doing is putting yourself in debt to him, and eventually he'll take over the club completely, and nobody wants that. So it's definitely a tough topic. We'll see how it happens here. First things first, let's get gross. He needs to figure out a way to get these boys to get a win. That's priority number one, I think, for this week coming up. We'll see if any rumors come up. We'll let people know. Jack, anything else you want to talk about before we close this one out? We're just trying to stop from venting as much as we can.
No, man. It just, new year, but hello, darkness, my old friend.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it is. And it's, yeah, somebody needs to tell the team it's 2021 now. It's not 2020 anymore. So, anyway, let's end this episode here before we go down that tunnel of darkness again, even further. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you sign up for the Schalke US newsletter. Not only do you get info on the club, but you'll get the latest on all the local fan clubs across North America and even on our podcast. Keep tuning in each week as we bring you the latest from the Royal Blues, all the transfer noise that we hear. Any topics you would like us to discuss, let us know at SchalkeMerica on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Jack, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
No.
Well, I'm going to give a shout out to everybody on Facebook who joined us tonight, Jack. You may not, but I will. I'll give a shout out to everyone on Facebook tonight. Thank you for joining us tonight.
That's a good shot. I'm glad we got so many people from Facebook joining in the first time we streamed them. Maybe we'll do that consistently then. Yeah, we appreciate everyone who comes in and contributes in the chat and everything. So thank you. Yeah,
we had some good numbers tonight. So I'm glad to have everyone, even everyone on YouTube and everyone who's going to listen to us on the podcast later. So, Jack, where can our followers find you on social media?
At JMMangan, JMMangan on Twitter.
Very good. And once again, I'm your host, Richard Kharman. You can find me at R_KHARMAN pretty much anywhere. Until the next podcast comes, my friends, stay ready, and we'll be with you soon. Tschüss.